It's one of those things where you're focusing on what is getting you engagement and you're focusing on what's getting you likes, as opposed to how people are actually buying in.
Hey, I'm Becca with the Happy Ever Crafter, and in this episode I'm talking to Laney and Carley, the amazing masterminds behind the client bundle, which we'll talk about in this video. But today they're giving us 5 actionable, quick-hitting tips on how you can implement some strategies to get more clients and sell more products in your business. So let's just jump right in because there's a lot of good value in this episode. Guys, welcome to the show. Well, Laney, welcome back to the show, but Carley, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having us.
So excited.
I like people who've been watching the show for a long time saw Laney come on and do a similar kind of topic to this previously. But that one, it was just for Instagram, right?
Yeah, we just talked about Instagram, but I feel like now with so much social media, it's just, there's this huge plethora of things that you can do. And so we want to talk a little bit more about like an overall marketing strategy.
Yeah, totally fair. And there are way too many social media platforms.
Yeah, it's too much these days.
Yeah, but I think hearing about them all can help people sort of like decide which ones they want to conquer first and stuff like that too. So I think it'll be really helpful for people. Before we jump in though, there are definitely people who haven't been watching for super long. So can you each introduce yourself really quick, and then I'll let you just jump right into your lesson.
Yeah, sure. I'm Carley Zerker. I help Etsy shop owners sell to more than just their friends and family. So that's kind of been my main focus. I'm a coach. I do wedding invitations, so lots of things. And then Laney and I own a business together.
I'm Laney from Design by Laney. I'm an invitation designer, but also I teach artists how to make money.
Short and sweet.
We all want that, right?
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, well, I know you guys have lots of tips for people, and I mean, oftentimes if it's just one person talking, I'll like jump in, but I think with 2 of you, you're not even going to need me, and I don't have that much to add to this conversation on top of what you're going to say, so I'm just going to take myself off and let you guys get into your lesson, and then we'll chat more after.
All right, so today we're going to cover 5 marketing tips to help you get more clients. So I'll let Carley jump into the first one.
Yeah, so the first one is just talking to one person. So this applies to really any platform. If you're on Instagram, Etsy, whatever, you want to talk to one person and solve that one person's problem instead of trying to appeal to every single person out there in the world. So I think Laney does a really good job of this. And she has a lot of resources specifically about like how to talk to that one person and convey your value instead of just like, I don't know, just saying anything and trying to appeal to every single person in the world.
Yeah, I think if you try to talk to everyone in the world, or even just like as a wedding invitation designer, even if I just try to talk to every bride, my messaging has to be so generic that it's not going to resonate. Even if it reaches more eyes, it's not going to resonate with all of those people as strongly. So they're not going to think, oh, I have to hire her. She's speaking directly to me. Whereas if you speak to 1 or 2 people, you can just really hone in on that messaging. Like if you're talking to brides who are getting married in Palm Springs, love dogs and love the color yellow, which would be my ideal client pretty much. You are speaking to that person, and when they see your messaging, they're like, oh, I have to hire her because she's obviously the best for me. So if you think about like Coca-Cola's messaging is just so generic. It's like, live Coke, or like we like Christmas, or whatever it is. But it's very generic and it's trying to appeal to everyone. Whereas a lot of those like luxury brands are speaking more specifically to one person. I like to even, I was an English major, so I like to act like it's a character development for a book. So actually figure out what this person looks like, what this person makes, what kind of job they have, what makes them purchase things, what problems they have in their life, who's important to them, who helps them make buying decisions. And all of those things, if you nail down, you can even name that person. So you can be like, every time you're writing an Instagram caption, you can be like, okay, what would Andrea think about this? What is Andrea suffering from today? Or whatever, if you name that person, it just makes them really real in your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
I already told you guys I wasn't going to interrupt in point number 1, but it's kind of like I remember learning about this when I was first starting, and saying, like, someone told me just to stop saying like, hi everyone, or like, hi guys, and just say hi. And it sounds so much more like you're just talking to one person. That's just like such a tangible, actionable thing that people should just like quit. I still do it all the time in my stories, but other than that, like in my posts and in my like marketing on my website and stuff, I'm really intentional about not saying those words.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're connected to them when you're just talking to one person rather than like, hello, everybody in the world, instead of just like, hey, Laney, how are you? You know, it just, there's that connection, and then it helps people trust you, and people trust you, people buy from you.
Yeah. And using, instead of, I'm from the South, so I use second person plural, which is y'all all the time, but just saying you instead makes it feel like, okay, we're just having a conversation here.
Yeah.
I need to work on that one, but y'all
Me
is
too.
very ingrained. So the second one is kind of on that same note, is just focusing on one or two platforms. We mentioned that there's so much that you can do out there, but you can't be good at all of it. It's kind of like that Ron Swanson quote. I don't want to say a curse word, but you can't half but one thing. There are two things you have to whole but one thing. So like Carley has gotten really good at Etsy and Pinterest, and then kind of where I come in, I'm better at like networking and search engines and Instagram. Those are kind of where I've focused. I know that's 3 and I said 1 to 2, but I got really good at Instagram and grew my whole business there. And then started figuring out how to use the work I'd done on other platforms.
So like she said, I focused on Etsy and Pinterest. When I started my business, my full attention went to Etsy and making my Etsy really good, and then driving traffic. So it doesn't matter if this is like Instagram or Pinterest or YouTube or whatever. I think it's good to start with just 1 to 2, get really good at it, and then move on to the other things, because you're going to have better results when you can put more energy into it. And there is a strategy where you do a little bit on every single platform. And while I think that's a good strategy, that often just leads to a lot of burnout. So focusing up on like one thing is probably going to get you better results in the short and the long term.
And I think one thing that Carley and I both teach is you can be successful doing anything. Like, if you look at the 3 of us, like Becca has that awesome Facebook group. She's got this giant YouTube channel and Instagram following. Carley's super successful on Etsy and Pinterest. I stick to like Instagram. I do a lot of networking, get a lot of my business from word of mouth and relationship building. So like we're all successful in different ways, whereas I'm not doing so hot on Pinterest or Etsy, but I'm starting to learn those things after learning from Carley, but she's really successful, and then she doesn't have like as large of a community on Instagram or something.
Yeah, and so once I mastered, in my opinion, Pinterest and Etsy, then I moved on to like Instagram. So now I'm just kind of jumping off there and using the platform and enjoying it more. And since I did the other things first, I feel like I don't have to worry about those as much now. Like they're kind of more on autopilot, and they feel really good. So to where I can give Instagram more of my like full attention. So with that, the third thing that you want to do is to reuse your content. So this is something that Laney and I have always done. It's something that we recommend doing just to like make your life easier, because with number 2, we were just talking about like avoiding the burnout. And this is a really good way to avoid the burnout. If you are pinning your Etsy posts, or if you're pinning your Instagram post, or I'm using Pinterest as an example, but like you can reuse all of your content across multiple platforms to just save you time and like that mental bandwidth, and also expand your reach.
Yeah, every time you're doing content creation, think about all the different platforms. Like I used to only take square photos because I was only focusing on Instagram. And then I got to my website and I was trying to design it and was like, crap, I only have square photos. Like I don't have anything to fit in this spot, that I need a vertical or horizontal, or like Pinterest, you really want vertical. So now when I'm doing a photo shoot, I try to do all of the above, and it doesn't add that much more work, but then I always have good photos in, horizontal, vertical, square, or ways that you can crop them so it makes sense. So you're just like, you can take a TikTok and post it on an Instagram reel. You can take a video that you've done on Instagram and post it on Pinterest. You can just make your life easier. Carley turns her podcast episodes into blog posts. I turn a lot of my YouTube videos into blog posts, and email list stuff. Like anything you can do to reuse content is going to save you time and just make it all feel easier, which is our big objective, is to make things feel good for you.
Yeah, I think even sometimes if I write a really good email, I will take all of that and then later make it into like a longer blog post. Or
Mhm.
if I need to send something out, I might like take a blog post and make it like a shorter email for people that maybe haven't seen that. Or there's all sorts of ways you can use content across literally all the platforms, no matter what you do, whether you're an artist or, you know, selling invitations or calligraphy, anything. Like you can reuse your content to just save you so much time.
Well, not only to save you time, but to reach different types of clients, right? Like people who are not on all of the different platforms, or who, you know, like you said, if you have a YouTube video, you probably have people who prefer to read than to watch a video. And so you have that same content repurposed, and you're reaching two totally different people that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah, so if you're curious, like which one or two platforms you should start focusing on, the audience is really important. Like Facebook typically has an older audience. TikTok obviously has a younger audience. Instagram's somewhere in the middle. And then all the different platforms, people are there for different reasons. So if you have something that's extremely visual, maybe Pinterest is a good platform for you. If you have simple products to sell, maybe Etsy is a good platform to start focusing on. So number 4 is to, while you're on these platforms, just know the right numbers. I feel like you've probably heard this before, but just try not to focus on vanity metrics. I know when you're on Instagram, you want to get all the likes, you want to have those numbers be huge, but like I've started doing a little bit on TikTok, and I'm like, gosh, this video only got like 1,000 views, because that's really low on TikTok. But if 1,000 people saw my work that had never seen it before, like that's actually really amazing. So when you're looking at metrics, focus on things that people are clicking on. I have a suite that I post on Instagram every once in a while, and I know it's going to do really well. It's like my most liked photo ever. However, I have never sold anything in the photo because it's kind of expensive. It's kind of unique. It's like an acrylic imitation with like hand painted on the back. So while people, or like the color Dusty Rose you might have seen around, is something that does really well on Instagram. It's like, whenever I'm having a slump day, I'm like, oh, I'll post something Dusty Rose. I'll get a bunch of engagement, but I very rarely actually sell Dusty Rose. So it's one of those things where you're focusing on what is getting you engagement, and you're focusing on what's getting you likes, as opposed to how people are actually buying in. And I like to remind people, especially on Instagram, that a like is just no commitment whatsoever. So if you focus on getting a lot of likes, or if you're trying to recreate the photos that got the most likes, like when you go into your insights, if you're ordering by likes, so if you go into your insights, if you order by likes, you're going to get photos that people didn't really buy into. Whereas if you focus on shares or saves or emails, website clicks, those kind of things, those are all things that required a lot more effort and showed a lot more commitment. So those are going to be much more valuable to you. And that's the content that you want to start recreating. Even if you have a smaller community and have fewer followers, you're going to make more money.
Yeah.
That's
so
what we're here for.
Yeah, the money, right. So the vanity metrics on Pinterest, a lot of times people get really fixated on that like monthly viewer thing at the top, and you'll see people with like millions of monthly viewers. But the thing is, that doesn't really matter if you're not selling anything, like Laney just said. So instead, on Pinterest, good metrics to go off of are link clicks and saves, because those are the people who are really interested, who might want to come back, or who actually do click through to your product. And then on Etsy or other platforms, it's going to be like your conversion rate. So the number of people that look at your products or services and then actually buy. Those are the kind of the better metrics to look at than like how many people looked at this, or like didn't even click, or did the things that take literally no effort. So, you know, there's all sorts of those vanity metrics. And even on Etsy or on Instagram, like I am not on their level on Instagram, but as soon as I kind of just like stopped paying attention to the likes and the follower count, it just like felt a lot better, just like to be on the platform and to not worry about that. So those numbers, like they're just numbers. They don't really matter that much.
And metrics can help you figure out what's working and what's not working. I was pinning a lot of my Etsy listings, and I was seeing they were getting a lot of views on Etsy and clicks on Pinterest, but then I wasn't making so many sales. And so when you look at those numbers, you can see, okay, this is where the disconnect is happening. Like the picture on Pinterest is getting clicks, they're getting to my shop, but something about my listing is making them not purchase, whether it's the pricing or the way it's laid out or the pictures or something. And so can help you figure out where those like stop gaps are of where people are not paying attention. And one thing that you, Carley, like blew my mind about on Pinterest was when I first read your Pinterest ebook, I had like 600,000 monthly viewers or something. And then you basically said like, stop paying attention to that number and stop like posting your competitors' work. You want most of the things you're pinning to be your work. Otherwise, you're just giving people free marketing. And so I immediately dropped down when I started doing that to like 100,000 monthly viewers and had to slowly build back up. But even if I'm not at that same number, all of those clicks are now mine. All of those views are mine. Of course, I post other people's work sometimes, but I'm not focusing on just growing that number because all that's doing is helping my competitors.
Yeah, that number's not getting you any sales, which is, the goal. So
if it's not competitors, it's just
I think that's a common thing that happens when you work on your Pinterest is a lot of times your stats either go way up or they go way down. And that's not a bad thing. It's just an indication that you're making changes and to pay attention to, maybe your views are dropping, but if you're getting more clicks, who cares? Because they can't buy from you right on Pinterest. You have to get them to click through to buy somewhere else. So
I'd much rather have 100,000 views on my work than 600,000 views on someone else's work.
Yes, exactly. So the fifth thing is just always assuming the best. I think as creative entrepreneurs, it can be really easy to just, send off a quote or something and go like, oh my God, they're not going to buy this. This is too much money, or, have all that self-doubt. But when you come from a place of self-doubt and you doubt yourself, you're going to take action differently. So you're going to say things that might talk them into a lower price. If you say like, oh, they're not going to buy this, here's a cheaper option, you're immediately talking them into spending less or talking them out of the thing that they want just by not believing in yourself or your pricing or whatever it might be. And this doesn't even go for pricing, just kind of everything. Always not assuming the worst, right?
Yeah, when you're posting, I feel like this happens a lot. If someone hasn't gotten good results from a platform, like especially with Etsy, we have all this negative energy towards Etsy and we think like, oh, if I'm on Etsy, I'm not going to make money because someone's charging less than me. Sure, someone's always going to charge less than you, whatever platform you're on. But if you go into that with that energy, you're just asking for it. You're just assuming that it's not going to work. And therefore you're going to not put the energy into it, not have those brilliant ideas. And it's not going to work.
Yeah. Just the words that,
sorry. I was just writing an article because we're rewriting panic-free pricing at the time of this recording and talking a lot about pricing stuff. And that's one of the big things that we talk about. And when we did a poll of all the people in our pricing group about what their biggest struggle is. And it's always confidence, always confidence. And like people coming from such a scarcity mindset where they think that because they're new and they don't get very many clients coming to them, that they don't want to price low and then risk losing the client. And I always just try and tell people like, it's a matter of like, it's almost like dominoes. Like you need to reinforce those like positive small changes, like all the things you guys are talking about in this video. And then over time, those dominoes will all fall and they like stack up and it turns into like, you make a confident decision and you stick to your pricing and you are confident, you know that like, you're doing it right. And then you attract a good client like you guys are talking about. And then you feel more confident because you attracted a good client. And then more clients come to you because you're being confident and being professional. And like, it all just turns into this cycle. But until you do the first thing and like start that first, like hit that first domino, it's never going to happen. And if you keep reinforcing the bad stuff, it's going to be dominoes in the opposite direction. So I love that last point. I think that's such a good one.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with the assuming the best or assuming the worst, the words that we use are just going to be completely different. If you are assuming they're not going to buy, you're going to say different things. If you're assuming that they are going to buy, you're going to say different things. If you assume that they're going to buy and then they say this is a little out of my budget, then you can kind of go in that other direction. But let's not start going in the wrong direction right off the bat.
That's true, because you would never, like if you started by docking your prices or assuming they're not going to take whatever you're offering them, and then they said yes, you would never know if they would have bought it at a higher price or if they would have done it differently. You'll never know, and you'll just keep doubting yourself. So yeah, that's such a good point.
Exactly.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, a no is never fully a no. So if you get to that point and you get the no, that's when you can be like, okay, well, I really like this project, or maybe we can lower the scope in order to make this work in your budget or something like that, or let me know. I mean, I've had clients kind of ghost me because of budget and then come back a week later and be like, we made it work.
Love it. So good. I feel like all those things are just so, like, such small actionable things that people can take, leave this lesson and just go and implement them all. Sweet. Okay. Full disclosure to everybody who's watching, like, we want to tell you about Laney and Carley's awesome course, because if you're watching this and you want to know how to get more clients and do all of the things that they're talking about, they have a very good resource for you. So can you guys tell us about it? Because I know people are going to want to find it.
So it's called the Client Bundle, and it started as just information on all these platforms. So as you can see, our strategies really work no matter what platform you're talking about. We're not like, you have to be here or you have to be here. You have to do what works for you. But we've dedicated like a specific ebook to 7 different platforms, like Etsy, branding, SEO, networking, Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. Yep. I always forget one of them. And then with that, it's kind of grown. I was telling them earlier that it's grown into this like kind of membership community that you don't have to actually pay a membership for, because every month we go live on a new topic about getting getting clients. And this time around, we're actually offering, at the end of March, we're going to be doing a virtual retreat with like 9 different topics from a bunch of different speakers, all about things like, TikTok and Reels, to lead generation, to how to use Pinterest and Etsy, those kind of things. So it's grown so much. It started as these like 7 ebooks with a couple templates and worksheets as bonuses. And then now there's like 15 hours of live content in the Facebook group. There's a very active Facebook group, and we're adding 8 more hours of content with this Master Your Marketing virtual retreat.
So who is it perfect for? Like, if someone's watching this and wondering if it's good for them, like, exactly who is it? Yeah, let's go to Carley for this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good for really anybody who wants to grow their presence. I think, Laney and I are really good at different things. She's really good at Instagram and SEO, like she said, and I'm good at Pinterest and Etsy. And so you don't have to choose, like, we'll help you kind of decide what path might be right for you. There's not one way to be successful. Like, that is what I truly believe in. So it doesn't really matter what you sell. There's something in here to help you grow in that area. But a lot of the people in our community are artists. There's calligraphers, stationers,
wedding planners, product designers,
creative business owners as
well. I would say creative is kind of our focus. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll link to it down below, but if they type in the Client Bundle in Google, they'll probably find it, right?
Yeah. clientbundle.com is our website. Pretty easy.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on and giving us all of those tips. Even if people don't go and get more, I feel like these things will make a big difference for them. So thanks for doing
it all adds up.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Laney, if we're going off of history, you'll be back in another year, 6 months to a year. So
I can't wait. Yeah. Carley should be a new regular too. Just saying.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.